Hey, this is Basketball Talk 77, and this is my power rankings, predictions, regular season predictions, whatever you want to call it, for the Western Conference. I've done the Eastern Conference, so if you want to check that out, I will leave a link. Anyway, let's get right into the video. Lowest seed is the Thunder. Speed around. The lowest seed is the Thunder. They're going to be absolutely terrible because they don't want to win. The Rockets are the 14th seed. The Rockets are going to have Jalen Green, but I don't think he'll add that many wins as a rookie. He'll have a great rookie season. I imagine he might win Rookie of the Year because of his counting stats and such, but points per game. Next is the Spurs. They've given away all their players that are keeping them good. Hopefully, maybe Greg Popovich will retire halfway through the season. They'll suck, and as a Spurs fan, that's what I want because I want them to get a good draft pick next year and be able to start a true rebuild without being held down by DeMar DeRozan or anyone else. Anyway, next team is going to be the Pelicans. They are going to be the 12th seed, and that's going to be majorly disappointing, but it's not that hard to see it's going to happen. Or at least they're going to be somewhere down there. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And the reason for that is that Zion Williamson does not want to be on the Pelicans, and they refuse to run the offense through him. At least for now, it looks like he should be the focal point of the offense. Again, I've always had drawbacks about Zion Williamson as the center of your offense. I could watch him when he was on Duke in college, and I saw him get injured. I saw him get injured throughout his career, and he really hasn't played that many games. When he's healthy, though, assuming that he's healthy and his body type and general one-dimensional player archetype doesn't hurt him, if we assume that he's good enough to be the focal point of the offense, if he's healthy, then he should be the focal point of the offense. And even then, the Pelicans haven't done anything with him. I'm not exactly sure how Brandon Ingram fits in with them because he's kind of an ISO player, and I feel like he should have a team of his own where he can really thrive. But they really just haven't used the players that they have where they could really be a good team. And because of that, I think that Zion Williamson is going to be disgruntled the whole year. And I don't think they're going to be that good because they haven't been that good in the past. Next team is the 11th seed, and I'm going to pick the Timberwolves. Although I'm going to do Timberwolves and Kings together because I think they're extremely close. Usually the Timberwolves they really suck. They're terrible. But they're adding Patrick Beverley this season, and that defense plus intensity could really help them. Now, I always remind people, and by people I mean just myself, that the Timberwolves were a 3rd seed in the Western Conference in 2017-18. It was because they had Jimmy Butler. Now, obviously, Jimmy Butler is very important, but what he added to the team, even more than his actual skill, was his intensity. And that was all it took for the Timberwolves, with the general talent they have now, to be a 3rd seed in a tight and powerful Western Conference in 2017-18. But the minute he got injured, they fell back down to the 8th seed. Because they need someone who's intense like that. And Patrick Beverley fits the bill in that. Now, he's obviously not Jimmy Butler, so he won't get as many minutes, won't play as much, won't be as impactful. But perhaps they just need someone intense like that to be on the team to help them win a lot more games. Or maybe they need a star. I'll hedge my bets and I'll put them at the 11th seed. But I am going to put the Kings as the 10th seed. Because, this is an emotional pick. I'm not doing this perfectly pragmatically, robotically. I want the Kings to win, so I say the Kings will win. As if it will make any difference. Everyone wants the Kings to win. No one really hates the Kings enough to really root against them unless they're playing against your favorite team. It's been so long since they've won. We all hope they make it. And I think they will make the 10th seed, at least the play-in. But just barely, and I think the Kings and Wolves are really close. Next team is the 9th-seeded Clippers. I said that weird. Clippers. Honestly, it's going to be Paul George and the Pacers all over again. Again, the West is still good, and there are plenty of other teams that I could see winning more than them. Kawhi Leonard is not going to play until at least the All-Star break. And trying to predict if he's going to be healthy for the second half of the season is too hard anyway. So it's just going to be Paul George, and he could be really good. The Clippers just have lost a lot of the depth the team came there for. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard came for Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, and Lou Williams, and all three of those players are now gone. And so is Kawhi Leonard. So it's just going to be Paul George and, Reggie Jackson. And that team isn't going to win enough games to compete with our next team, which is the 8th-seeded Grizzlies. Yes, I put the Grizzlies over the Timberwolves, Clippers, and Kings because the Grizzlies win more than a lot of teams, and they win more than they should, to be honest. Ja Morant, he led his team to a playoff spot in a good Western Conference, and I think that's pretty admirable. I mean, he beat Steph Curry in the play-in, and that's pretty awesome, and he's overall been a great player. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be back, the whole young core is going to be back, and I think the team could be really good, and they are really good. They win more than they should, but that's not a reason that they're not going to win. Next team is the 7th-seeded Blazers. They're going to win a little above 500. I see 44 wins. Damian Lillard, if he doesn't request a trade before the trade deadline, it's definitely going to happen at the end of the season. He's gone. The team didn't make the moves they could have. They could have gotten other players. They could have made major trades, but they just didn't. And to be honest, they failed him, and that's too bad. But they're going to be what they usually are, slightly above 500 team that doesn't go anywhere in the playoffs. Which is too bad, but that's just the situation that we're in. Next team is the 6th-seeded Mavericks. This is held by Luka Doncic, who I think will finally win the MVP that people have been teasing for the last few years. I think it is truly going to be where he becomes that top player in the league. Personally, I think he was a little bit overrated before, and I didn't like people calling him, top 5, top 3 best player ever, because I didn't really like his defense, and his teams didn't do that well. But the older it gets, the more I like Luka Doncic, the more I'm okay with him being as good as he is, and the less the expectations are away from the reality. So I think he'll be good. I think he's really good, and he's going to help the team to a 6th seed single-handedly, perhaps with help of Kristaps Porzingis, but you can never predict on that guy because he's just so injury-prone. Next this is probably my most controversial pick of the whole thing, but 5th-seeded is Lakers at 50 wins. The reason I choose the Lakers here is because they are not going to be a good regular season team, and they may not be a good playoff team, so I'm kind of hedging my bets there. But you have to remember, the 2 hardest players in the league to adjust to, the 2 players that are a system unto themselves, is Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, and they are now going to be on the same team. Now, not only that, but they're also going to add many free agents. So not only do all these new players, new free agents, have to get used to playing with LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, LeBron James and Russell Westbrook have to learn how to play with each other, which could be the hardest task of the NBA. If there's any team to watch this season, at least to see how they do, to see how they play, it's the Lakers. The most fun, I'd say the Bulls, but in terms of really seeing how well they do, the Lakers are the team to watch because I want to see how that would work out. Now, there are many scenarios. It could be that it completely falls apart and then they can't work together. It could be that Russell Westbrook takes all the possessions and LeBron James starts the decline of his career. It could be that they can work together and so Russell Westbrook is just sent in with the second unit the whole season. Whatever the case, though, I don't think LeBron James and Anthony Davis will be playing that much, and Russell Westbrook, that whole team is going to have to learn how to play together, and even if they are successful, it will take at least until the All-Star break to figure it out. So, 50 and 32. 4th seed is the Suns, probably another 50-win team. The fact that DeAndre Ayton probably isn't gonna stay with them for that long is part of the reason why I am putting them as a 4th seed. I would put them as a 2nd seed before, but DeAndre Ayton was the major reason where I was going to put them higher. Chris Paul is going to get a little bit worse. Again, I don't understand people who say he's going to fall off. The man relies on playmaking and shooting to be good. What part of playmaking and shooting is going to suddenly fall off at the age of, 36 or however old he's going to get? It's not. He's a durable player. He'll probably last longer than LeBron James, to be honest. But, I mean, he's definitely going to get a little bit worse, like any aging player does. And I was thinking that DeAndre Ayton's improvement, however marginal, would be the thing that really puts them over the edge. But if he's not going to be there, I have no faith that they're going to be a 2nd seed. I'll put them as a 4th seed. Editor's note. When I said this, I did not fully understand the situation. DeAndre Ayton is going to be with the team. However, my prediction still stands because I don't think that he will really be into it, knowing that the team doesn't really want to keep him as badly as he feels that he's worth. So, same prediction, just slightly different understanding. All right, bye. 3rd seed, I choose the Nuggets. They're just a good team. Now, there are plenty of other teams that could be better in total. I think the Lakers, by the end of the season, could be better than the Nuggets, but the Nuggets win games. Just like the Grizzlies win games, the Nuggets win games. And Nikola Jokic is the MVP. People will call him like a fake MVP, an unworthy MVP, but to even be in that conversation is amazing. And it means that you're pretty good. Jamal Murray, of course, unsure about that situation, but I'm pretty sure he'll be back. So that will make their team better, obviously. But they don't even really need him. They just need Nikola Jokic to be the center of the team, and I think he will be. They've got lots of good players around him, and they could be great. The next team is the 2nd seeded Warriors. I am going all in the Warriors, it looks like. I don't see any real 2nd seed in the West in terms of regular season, and so that's what I'm betting on. The Warriors were good with their old core, and they got that core back. Now, the question mark is Klay Thompson. I think all the new additions will help their much-needed offensive support for Steph Curry, like Nemanja Bjelica, Kent Bazemore, all their players that they got. Klay Thompson is the X factor, how well he comes back. My prediction for him is that he'll actually become even better of a shooter, because that's all he could practice before, but his off-ball movement, his attacking the glass, his defense is all going to get worse. But they don't need him to be a good defender. In fact, the Warriors were actually a fine defensive team last year, probably because of Draymond Green, probably because of just the personnel they had. But what they need from Klay Thompson is offense, and I honestly think he's not going to be lacking in that regard. So Steph Curry is going to get more help if we can have another MVP season, the way he's been unlocked and his true skill. That could help them. So there you go. 1st seed is the Jazz. I am not in any way saying that the Jazz are major contenders. In fact, I don't think they are. I think teams like the Warriors, Lakers, Suns, any other team in the West could beat them. But the Jazz are a regular season juggernaut, and they win lots of games with their great defense and great 3-point shooting. I don't see that changing. Now, I don't want Rudy Gobert to win another Defensive Player of the Year, but he'll help anchor them. The only thing I could see wrong is him putting such bad defense in the playoffs, affecting how the team chemistry works, and that team does rely a lot on chemistry, so if anything's screwed up there, then they're in trouble. But as for regular season, they look fine. So those are my full Western Conference power rankings. I've done the Eastern Conference before, and in total that is all 30 teams and where they stand in the standings for the regular season. Of course, another disclaimer, this is all for fun, just to ask those big questions, just to get us ready for the season, and I'm excited, and I hope you are too. So, I'll see you with my next video, whatever seems important at the beginning of this season, whatever seems cool to do next. But until then, like, subscribe, and see you next time.